4:30. We've been there like 2 hours.
Worst stop, it doesn't have that much to do.
Pledge, and I'd like to acknowledge before the pledge that it is 9/11, and a quick moment of silence for those that lost their lives in the towers and running to the towers and the planes. Current pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Wait, well.
I know it's like.
Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes from the August 14th town board meeting? Anybody have any requests for corrections, additions, deletions? Hearing none, these are the clerk's minutes. I also have, I didn't get it on the agenda like I wanted to, but a moment of silence for Karen Lee, who passed away this week. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to read Gary's memorial writing piece that's online. If you haven't, search it out. She was quite a neat woman. I had no clue that she had been the first female police officer in the town of
Oh,
Inlet.
you didn't know that?
If I did, I forgot it.
No. Yeah,
But,
I remember that.
You know, between that and,
Right off the end of the dock. Full uniform.
No.
do we have a speaker on someplace that's not supposed to be on?
Oh, that's a police officer.
Oh, gotcha. Between the library, the other things, I seriously say, search that out. Gary Lee did a phenomenal job writing up a nice little memorial, and, you know, lucky enough to have known her as from what, age 5, 7, moving forward, asked her to marry him at age, he was 7 and she was 5. She smartly said no at that point, and took him a couple more years to wear her down, I guess. Karen Lee will be missed. Moment of silence, please. Thank you. Following that with public comment. Anybody wants to dive in with public comment? Peggy?
Yes, just regarding the letter that we got back from the guy from the state. Was just chatting with Sean, and if you can set up a meeting, the 17th works for Sean. And it works for me, if it works for you.
17th, a Tuesday. Yes.
Okay.
Want to do the same place as last time?
No, I want him to come here and talk to us.
Oh, set him up for a meeting on the
Well,
17th.
that was one of the options in his
Yep,
email.
yep. I will check with him and see if 17th or the week of the 17th is available. I don't know.
Sean can only do the 17th. He's got
I'm not
other stuff.
available the 18th or the 19th.
That might have to be the week after then.
I'm not available that week either. Not even in town that week.
Where is someplace nice we can all meet you?
You can if you want.
I will check on the 17th. And I will, especially considering the tone of his email that he sent back and some of the stuff we got to talk about not being able to use state contract.
Well, and then, yeah, because it would be much better in person than it would be over.
Yep. And again, I don't want to push it any later than that because again, we're already pushing it. So, all right, I will check on the 17th.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Anything else for public comment? And that's on the Townsend Trail, just in case anybody was wondering. We're looking to try and get that surfaced hardened for what the work that's already been done. And we're, you know, the paving crew has availability to do it, but we're not gonna expend the money unless we can get it back as part of the grant at this point in time.
Nope.
All right, anything else for public comment? All right. Highway transfer and recycling. You wanted to stay in that opening spot?
Yes. Haul garbage and recyclables, spread gravel on Yonkers Road. Cut grass, weed whacked on roadsides, Townsend and Kobe trails. Ditch 6 Lake Road. In a section of Uncas Road and a section of Lincoln Road. Check the roads after the windy weather, swept town sidewalks in Kobe every Thursday until Labor Day. We will now be sweeping every other Thursday until Columbus Day. Today we finished the jobs in Moose River Plains for DEC. I've just got to get the bill together. And I was going to list the truck on Auctions International, but I need to get a lien release on the title before I can list it. So once I get that done, I'm pretty much ready to go on it.
I won't let you do a preliminary listing.
It says
Aye.
clear title. Coming up, we're gonna haul garbage and recycling. I'm gonna ditch the section on Uncas Road that will be paving. I'm not sure the paving schedule just yet, possibly the first week or so in October. And we're gonna sweep town every other Thursday and install a culvert up on the end of Gilbert Road on the gravel section. That's all I have for highway.
Any questions of highway? Transfer?
Transfer stations open 7 days a week from 8 AM to 11:45, then 1 PM to 6:45. Closed from 12 to 1 daily for lunch. Transfer station is clean and orderly. Please be sure to enter the building before proceeding to the outside bins. If you're using the stump dump or leaf pile, please stop and check in with the attendant. People are driving past the building and dumping stuff in incorrect locations. Please make sure that any C&D is cut to 4-foot pieces before bringing it to the transfer station. And if there's any questions on the transfer station, guidelines are on the town's website and available at the transfer station. If you need help, please ask. We're here to help.
Any questions on recycling? I think at budget time, we're gonna probably be starting to talk about maybe doing something with the hours up there. But that's a question for another day. When do we usually go back to?
November. It'll be November.
November, so we got time yet. All right. Communications.
Do you mind if I skate out?
You said, we asked earlier and you said you didn't have skates.
I don't have skates. but
So how do you skate out?
How are you gonna skate? You gonna do the Michael Jackson shuffle?
bad for that.
You're the curly shuffle.
That I'd pay money.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Sean.
Sure.
All right, communications. Had a meeting this afternoon with CNS and the project awardees for the shelter project. Went very well. They've given us a rough timeline. And the nice bonus on top of that meeting was the gentleman that's gonna be doing some of the work for T-Mobile was there. And T-Mobile's equipment is in. They're looking to hang T-Mobile's equipment and I don't know about operational, but hang the equipment sometime in September.
I might be a little bit delayed after the site visit. Soon.
What would happen to the site visit?
Just logistics and
It's a little tight up there.
it's a little tight up there. If T-Mobile puts their stuff in there, we can't get the shelter in.
I wondered about that.
So they're gonna have to wait just a little bit more.
So they're gonna keep the shelter guys on the first end of the project.
Yeah, they're fired up.
Okay, because they were proposing starting on the 23rd and they wanted to start next week,
It might be
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Well, and I had a conversation with Dave Corsani, who owns the road going up to the site. You know, we leased the site from them, from him, and that road's in pristine shape. And he said, you know, anything you can do to get working materials up there now, you won't have to remediate it. But if we get a week of rain or anything like that,
Right. You got some perfect week coming up here. You better
perfect week.
get it up there.
We got him introduced to both the project managers.
Okay, so he showed up.
Yeah, it was great.
Awesome, perfect.
Couldn't have been better.
But anyways, things are actually finally moving.
They're really moving.
And the meeting couldn't have gone better. We had the county here, we had the T-Mobile guy here, we had the people for the shelter here and CNS.
Beautiful.
And we're gonna hold weekly meetings, Zoom meetings on Thursday at 2 o'clock every week. until this project's done, and they have the timeline on here, done by November. So now, done by November doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna have full service if you're a T-Mobile customer or even an AT&T customer right now. I believe that AT&T has been playing with their cells up on the hill.
I've heard they're done.
They are done?
Was fully on now?
I've heard they're fully on.
Okay. That's been changing week to week.
Yeah, my visual inspection says they're physically done. There is a little, it's very interesting, but the antennas, there's nothing pointed directly downtown or on South Shore Road.
That's odd.
I don't know why they did a quad with 3 sectors instead of a triangle with 3 sectors, so. My guess is they will be back. I don't think they thought it through all of it. Or the tower twisted, I'm not sure, so one of those things happened.
And my guess is, an engineer sitting somewhere not familiar with this, even though he's got a map of where the,
Did you, by any chance, talk to the county about what we talked about the other day?
yes,
Okay.
I believe there was some confusion going back and forth between Herkimer and Hamilton because at one point, we were afraid of stepping on the broadcast that receive signals. And they were talking about putting part of Hamilton County's 911 down next to the fire hall. When they
Right.
played with the
I
heights
knew this was the problem.
and
Go
the
ahead.
separation, on the towers, they were able to put all the equipment they need without even needing what's called a combiner,
There's 2 combiners now.
two smaller combiners.
They are smaller, but there's 2.
Right, but there was a massive combiner before where they were talking about doing something different. And I guarantee you, since they've had a change of staff down in Herkimer, that's, it's gonna be different equipment that they need to have. I was assured by Hamilton County today that they've reached out to Herkimer and that's all been.
It's all been fixed.
I have-
Well,
I also have Andrew Khalil, who's been working with a guy from Herkimer on the 911, which is where we thought,
yes,
heard this little glitch,
yes.
reaching back out to his guy to make sure from both ends that,
Perfect. I was gonna call Andrew today. I just didn't have any time.
So if anybody hears anything that the town of Inlet was going to the Hamilton County 911 system, we're not. We are for fire and ambulance moving forward into the future, Herkimer County 911. Our ambulances go that way. Racket Lake goes that way. Our whole service area is dependent upon that traffic. But we want to make sure that we have Hamilton County 911 service available here for the major disasters. If
Sure.
Hamilton
I mean,
County
they would
goes
still call if we gotta go that way.
Bottom line.
It all's gonna work, but our main thing is through Herkimer County 911.
But this is all part of a bigger project that the county is putting towers down at Hope, Wells and elsewhere, and they're retrofitting stuff on Blue Mountain. And when you get down into Morehouse and Arietta, they're working with the counties down there too, as they put these new towers up. They're doing joint services down there.
Hmm.
So it's nothing different.
Okay.
They're gonna have the same issue with Franklin County going that way.
Bolton County.
Fulton County, did I say
Yeah.
Franklin? That would be Long Lake, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they do that. Essex.
Yep,
Yeah.
Essex.
This is
Sorry.
not- You're correct.
I had the wrong F. All right.
Okay,
Any,
good. Thank
any
you.
other questions on communications? Anything from the planning board?
I've gotten some updates, since the last meeting, but we're still working on it. We talked about the fact that, we're not trying to rush this thing, so we'll just keep asking for updates and until we get to a point where we think we have a plan that's worth presenting as updated.
Did we want to try and schedule something for late fall, early winter for adoption, or are we looking at next spring?
So we talked about that at our meeting and nobody really had a good answer. Do you remember a good answer?
Again, I don't think there's a rush
There's not,
on this, especially, this is our 5th update, 4th.
I don't know.
But anyways, it's been a living, breathing document that's worked.
Yeah.
So getting it right's important.
Yeah, so on that same note, jumping back to Fern Park Master Plan,
Oh, yeah, I skipped over that, didn't I?
yeah, that's okay, because nothing's happened on that either. I've just been flat out busy with stuff going on in my office and events and stuff, so I haven't had a chance to really follow through on that.
I skipped over ambient power too.
Yeah, we're good to go, and, thanks so much to Bonnie for jumping in and getting a lot of that paperwork signed and bills and all of that, that's great. So we should be moving forward on that. The other question that came up through Nancy Bernstein was, the LED lighting situation. We got that to go forward. There was a question of whether they would accept the evaluation or the assessment initially that was done. But they are, it looks like they're gonna accept it. So now that was gonna cost $3,400 from the $10,000 to reassess the whole situation, but it's not doing that. So, the $10,000 will be going towards that. So I don't know if you know, thought of who you're gonna get to do this. I know Nancy mentioned National Grid and was wondering if they had started, but has anybody initiated that?
Oh, the LED streetlights is a different topic. That was the LED lights for the town hall.
Town hall and streetlights are opposites.
Right, yeah.
Okay, okay,
The streetlights, I did get an answer back from Steve Higgins,
okay,
and he said that he was looking for the letter of commitment from the town that we were gonna move forward. And I know I already gave him that letter of commitment because it was due with the grant. So I said, well, that's no problem. I'll get that back over to you too, because I had to spell out what brightness we wanted to go with and all
Say,
that.
we wanted to make sure we weren't gonna get nailed with a high lumens. I mean,
Right, yes. So that was included in that letter, so I'm not sure where the disconnect was, so I'm gonna send him that letter over again.
Don't they have to install the streetlights?
Mhm.
Grid has to install the streetlights.
Yeah, Grid will do that.
They do
Yeah.
all the maintenance.
They'll do
repair.
that.
And or hire a subcontractor
Well,
to do it.
through them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the LED lights for the town hall grant that Connie was just speaking about was approved. So we just got that approved this week
Good.
too, with
Nice.
Connie and everybody. So that was approved.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a little bit extra money. Yeah, there's gonna be a little bit extra money left from that they're gonna use towards the mini splits.
Okay, good.
and Nancy did say that municipalities do get the
Incentive.
the incentives
Yeah.
and rebates and that sort of thing. So I don't know, I had mentioned to Mike, I don't know if that was included in what the number that he came up with, but I don't think it was.
I don't think it was either.
Yeah, so I don't know what that final number is gonna be, but it just,
It was on the
Quote,
LED lights, but not the
right, not on the
mini
mini
splits.
splits.
Yeah,
I think he said originally just for the two, there was the estimate he got from Collis was like $22,000 and the grant was like 10,000, but I don't know what the rebates are gonna be.
right. She didn't know that, I don't.
Yeah. So hopefully Mike can follow up on that, and I did message him, that, yeah, that they are available.
Good.
It's just,
Yeah, he sent something out, said that they were scheduling something, didn't he?
I don't remember. I saw that, yeah.
Anyways. Anything else? Connie, thank you again for spearheading some of that.
Thank all of you, and especially Bonnie and Robin and Dan Bernstein, yeah.
I don't mean to, I meant to send an email, but they pulled the switcheroo on me. So we were all
Really?
set to go live on Syracuse. They dumped me,
Really?
so we got nothing.
So you got the list, but was he on it at the time?
I think he was, yeah, I have to look again.
You have his contact information.
Yeah, I didn't have time. I mean, for the 25 cents I was saving, I didn't freak out about it, but
Well, if you want me to get in touch with them.
they get you all set and ready to go and then, oh, no, can't put you on that one.
Yeah,
They're running out of room all over the place.
Yeah, I guess they're kind of focusing more on, for businesses, as opposed to individuals at this point, at least Ampion is. I know there's other ones like, Nexamp that are still doing individual ones. Maybe we can do another whole, round, but not right now.
I knew I saw it someplace. It's number 14 on his perks report that the mini splits planned out. Dallas installation should be sometime in October. Knew I saw it somewhere. All righty. Did I skip over anybody else?
No.
So one way to get the meeting over with quick. Motion to adjourn.
You're moving right along, yeah.
All right, assessor codes, parks, building information, trails, everything but trails should be attached. Did you get a trail report?
There was nothing attached to the paper agenda,
Oh.
just the minutes. So I noticed, so I printed out a couple of mine. It's sent them to the printer for my phone. They printed out weird, but I put a couple over there if anyone wants to. One
Oh,
up.
they didn't get attached to the,
No,
did you do just the,
but I sent it to y'all yesterday, right? You all got it?
Yes.
you just did the first couple of pages?
Yeah, that's all that printed out for me. I wondered why it was so small. I was like-
You need mine? I printed my whole one.
They're all available online or will be available online.
It's weird.
All right, so you had a couple you wanted to highlight?
No, not necessarily.
Square Mile of Hope?
1 Square Mile of Hope is happening on Saturday. People have been picking up packet or checking in already. There's no packets really to pick up, but there's picking up their shirts and checking in. Yeah, so maybe we won't break a record, but it'll still be a fantastic day. The weather's gonna be a lot better than it was, 10 years ago, so.
You're looking at it right now.
Better than for the 90 miler too.
Yeah, poor Mike Myler.
Although the day where it went through Inlet was
It
gorgeous.
was good here.
Absolutely
We
perfect.
can't have it all, can't have them all the way.
I've been telling people that it's still a nice homage to the original events and it'll be a great fundraiser. It's just proof that nobody's gonna break that record,
Not even us.
not even us.
That's really good point, not even us.
If it happens, it's a wonderful thing, but good weather and a nice event, it'll be more than enough.
Always.
Good comment.
It would be one closer if you get your kayak out.
But it's been nice. There's an uptick in people in town. People came early. It's
Yeah,
nice.
like campground is full and, they're all checked in over there already too, so.
It's gonna be busy in the area this weekend with the fire school going on in Old Forge and some other things. So
That Woods Inn is full.
very good.
Right.
All right, Amy, did you have anything you wanted to report out?
No, my report just included reminding people about address changes, which I kind of do every year, but. And the big problem we're having with addresses, I'm noticing like LLCs without a family name attached where people just put it in an LLC. If the name is not there, the post office will not deliver it unless the people at the other end have told their post office that's associated with them.
Wow, they haven't registered the post office box in that name.
Right. So, but other than that, everything's been.
Good.
Going fine.
All right, and we just reported out on the parks building air conditioning.
Well, other buildings, they're working on another JCAP grant for the Justice Grant. They're trying to,
Mhm.
want to get 2 doors to be replaced. They want to do a couple of chairs and a couple of
In
desks.
there.
Oh, those 2 doors they'd like to replace, I think, if I
Those
understand
are,
right.
those are pretty solid doors.
So those are Luan doors. I think they actually
Oh, I
bought
thought
6
those were
pins or
solid
something.
doors.
Steel doors.
I don't know,
I
but
thought
they
they were solid wood.
that or they're looking for electronic codes too, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's just looking for approval if you get the money to apply for these upgrades, so.
They're,
Motion?
sure.
I'll offer a motion to go for this. to let
I
them
don't
go
think
for
we
this
need a
grant.
motion to apply for a grant, just to spend the money if we,
I don't, but if it's just ask one somebody to.
do we have a second on that motion?
Sure, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? So carried.
But that's what they're gonna spend it on, so if they get some money.
Okay, good.
Plan.
Town clerk report.
My revenue report is $41,126. Which most of it is cottage rentals, but there's also quite a bit of sewer rental in there. I have a resolution from the Herkimer County legislators that just basically says that they wanted Town of Inlet to see that they passed a resolution supporting the state of New York and the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation to keep the Alger Island Campground and Fourth Lake Day Use area open and continue operating with existing unit management plan. So, and then Don Hale was in, and I believe he said they made the decision to keep it open.
Good, because they're not alone in pushing for that across the park. They've been trying to close area campgrounds.
Right.
They tried to close a couple down in Arietta, and same thing, the county had to push back down there on that. I get it. They don't have enough staff, but part of their problem with not having enough staff is not hiring and paying for their staff. Quite honestly, the DEC needs to have more rangers. You buy more land, you need more staff to
Manage it.
manage it,
Pretty
protect
thin, yeah.
it, cover it, you know. Anyways, don't get me started on that, but it's nice knowing that in a neighboring thing, because technically they call the Fourth Lake Boat Launch now the access point for that.
Really, that's right, because they took theirs out.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And between you, me and the fence post, I've said it for years. They've got enough land down there, that the old Elder Island
I
access
know,
that would make an unbelievable boat launch.
I know.
And it's a quiet end of the lake. You know, it's,
Yeah, that would be ideal. Yeah.
and, you know, none of those neighbors down there are taxpayers in town of Inlet, so it's a wonderful idea from this board. Sorry, Mike.
We'll add some parking too, because this is a.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
It is.
And there's so much land there that could be used creatively, and if they did it right, you wouldn't have that much exposure. I mean, it's a raceway between the Third Lake Channel and Dakers right now anyways, and I'm not singling Dakers out, it's just as a landmark. Right. All right,
And last thing I have is Mike Hess was in my office again and he's urging us to do something about that tree. I'm getting nowhere with National Grid. He wants to know if we can do something about that tree. He says he's not looking for the tree to come down. He actually wants to keep the tree because it has the mirror on it. But he said the top part is dead and the bottom part is alive. So
Sean's adamant that it's not on the town right away.
he said when he talked to National Grid, and that's the feedback I got from National Grid, is they're saying it's ours. So I'm just, I told Mike I would bring it up because, I'm hitting a brick wall with National Grid. The one woman told me it was marked to be taken down, but it was never taken down.
Somebody made a decision they didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm sorry, at that point in time, they become National Greed.
Yeah,
And I use that terminology a lot because it's not the people on the ground, but it's somebody in the middle office making a bad decision someplace.
Now, they had a lot of crews up there. They could easily taken that out
Yeah,
easily when they did that new power line and stuff.
I begged them a year ago when they were up there doing the work, and the guy said, we were told explicitly to stop before that tree.
Wow.
yeah. And then, right, exactly. When I spoke to the other person that's in charge last week, they said, it is not their tree and they cannot take it down for liability issues. It's Town of Inlet's tree.
And they got a survey to show that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
If Sean claims we don't own it, so, I mean, he would know his road footprint, right?
Well, Mike Hess said that when he talked to Sean, Sean said that the right of way changes based on where, so nobody's clear. Nobody can give a straight answer. National Grid saying it's not their tree, and Inlet saying it's not our tree. And-
National Grid is probably using the standard for road width,
Right.
but that road from the bridge on is the footprint that is maintained. It is not in fee title.
Mhm.
It's not a fee title ownership at all.
Right.
It's a maintained surface. And quite honestly, parts of Uncas Road, as you get up towards, ponds, same thing, which is why we've never been allowed to put a decent snowmobile trail next to the road.
Yeah.
Because we don't own it in fee title. It's maintained. It's like Lime Kiln Lake Road going past the mill. It doesn't even run where it's supposed to run. We own it in fee title someplace, but the road doesn't run over where we own,
Some places completely off of it.
completely off.
Yeah.
Completely off.
Anyways, I've had the conversation many times with Mike. I don't believe we're in the position to bring in a special crew and pay for it to deal with that tree. The unfortunate it is National Grid's responsibility. And if they want to wait until it causes damage to the lines and they have to fix everything, it's a shame.
Yeah.
We can put a letter putting them on prior notice that it's their responsibility.
It won't hurt.
I think we should do
It
that.
won't hurt.
Well, it's kind of there alone now because everything else around it is blowing up these storms. There's almost nothing left around it.
Just like
A lot of stuff is blowing down.
the prior notice law would fall under, anything like sidewalks that are in bad shape or anything like
Yeah, I
that.
think that's a good idea.
Yeah, we're putting them on
Put them
notice.
on notice and see.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's what I tried to do with a phone call to them and they said.
It's gotta be in writing.
No,
"Put
you
us
got,
on."
Down
I know,
letterhead.
but their attitude is
Yeah.
you can put us on.
And
notice all you
CC
want, it's
the-
not our tree.
CC the
Power Commission.
the state power commission.
Public Service Commission.
That's it. Public service.
You'll get farther with them.
CC them and
Guaranteed.
put it all out there and then, they'll be contacting National.
Consider on the name on the Public Service Commission if you look it up for the representative for this area.
Is me?
Oh, you're the representative for the public
I'm
service
gonna
commission?
complain one day and I'm like, well, he's the guy complaining, so I don't know.
Make sure I'm carbon copied on it then.
Write a letter to yourself, John.
All right.
But there is a Power Public Service Commission too.
Yeah.
I was looking up Frontier complaining about it. I think it's.
Gotcha.
Okay, so the rest of my stuff you have on here, so. I'm
I
good.
do.
Yep. The liability, you're good. And- Oh, the public hearing. Right? Yeah.
Well, I've got three things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I start with the first one?
You can start with whatever you want. I'm just done. I want to make sure I'm done.
Snowmobile permit contract. I called our lawyer. I emailed our lawyer. I've heard nothing back from the lawyer. I understand Webb is sending amendments to the lawyer.
Supposedly have it.
They supposedly have it, but I don't know
But the
if,
question is, who is your lawyer?
on this one, the whole law firm is our lawyer. We don't have a town attorney. We use, we've used, if the full name of the outfit is Miller, Mannix, Shackner, Hafner. We've used Hafner, we've used Shackner, we've used Rickenbach, who's, I think is your lawyer.
Yeah, and so we sent,
He's the one
we
he-
sent the stuff to Rickenbach. Rickenbach sent the stuff to you guys. So I assume you're sending it back to Rickenbach
You have it.
and then he's gonna send it back to us.
Have you guys talked to him today?
I get. Yes, Bonnie sent it back. No, not talk to him.
Yeah, cause he tried to call him today.
He's on some sort of law, something that.
Gotcha. So what I want to do, and I've got it on the agenda here, is I want to set a couple of special meetings prior to you guys having your bill night. Which will be your first opportunity to do something. Because if the amendments that you guys made to it are palatable, we're ready to sign.
I don't think there was any serious changes. It was just lawyer wording of some of the things that need, the way I read it. I mean,
Yep.
Bonnie added some wording in there, but it didn't look, there was no major changes.
Yeah.
When we all looked at it, it was like, yep, we're good.
And again, this, when Herb and the lawyer sent this down to you guys, this was meant to be a first easy step to getting us back on the path, trail, whatever you want to call it. And then if there's more stuff that has to be fleshed out, we can add it later.
Right, and I don't think there, I believe when you guys looked at it. Bonnie did ask for something to do with the lease stuff that you guys sent information, but there was nothing to do with any prices or something.
Bonnie's working on that.
Yeah, she'll get the actual amounts.
That's the only comment that I heard her say.
Yep.
But we all were just fine with whatever was there. I mean, it was not word for word what you wrote, but it was lawyer terms.
Yeah, I think you just changed a few things around, that's all. From what I understand, there's not any major stuff there. So hopefully we'll be able to get that back from him.
I can
Within a
tell you
week.
what Brian's comment, and this is not to me personally, it was to Bonnie. Somewhere along the line, Brian thought that Khalil was your attorney. So how come they're not using Khalil? I thought that was your attorney, and I'm like, I didn't say, but I don't know where all that came from. That was.
Well, where,
started.
I can tell you where it came from, it doesn't really matter, but we use the same attorney firm as you.
Right.
When we had an issue with the previous contract, we couldn't use the same attorney firm as you. So we had to get someone else to write a letter. All Khalil did was write a letter. So, and I told Brian that when I talked to him a month ago, or whenever I sent that stuff, I can't remember the day, that was just that one use thing. Now that we're all on the same page, there's no reason why he can't do the whole thing. And he said, absolutely, I can do the whole thing.
Okay.
So that's what the deal with Khalil is.
Yeah, because the Shackner, Hafner, the whole law firm basically answered back. At least four of them on the letterhead did, that, you know, they'd be willing to help with negotiations in a mediation if both parties were willing to agree to it and sit down at the same time, if we got to that level. And quite honestly, thank goodness we never got to that level. So, but that would be the only way that we would have been able to, at that point in time, to use both. So Khalil had to at least write the letter. But on this, you know, we are on the same page. So, to me, it keeps it easier if we're both talking to the same lawyer to give us the same verbiage. When's your bill paying night?
First Monday of October.
All right, so, the next 3 Tuesdays, the 17th, 24th, and 1st, you know, if at all possible, other than the time we're trying to set up for the meeting for DOT. I know you're gonna be out of town, but if we can at least get 3 of us together
Yep, sure.
to review the
Whatever you
document,
do.
that's binding.
You're probably gonna get that document. You guys can review that. I
Yeah.
would hope. I'd like to say, I don't know what Brian, if he's is here, what, when it was sent to him, from what I understand, I don't know how long you guys had it from when we had our meeting, but he was on vacation or something for
Yep.
a whole freaking week.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And that was back about almost a month ago.
Correct.
And then he was on vacation, then I talked to him, and then he had sent that at some point to you guys. And, but yeah, I'm good with, once we get it and we can all review it, and then we can have a quick meeting to adopt it.
That's what we had to do,
Yeah.
obviously. We got it, we reviewed it. No, I don't think any of us wrote anything on it. Bonnie had a couple.
So again, just to address some of the stuff that's out there. You know, I've resisted responding on Facebook repeatedly, and I finally had to respond last night. You know, this was never meant to drive a wedge between Webb and Inlet. And
No, thank you, John, because I was gonna mention tonight, I have to say, I think Inlet and All Fords have always worked through any little differences we've ever had I've been on the board for 22 years, Bert's been on for a long, a lot of you guys have been here a long time. We've never had any issues. Unfortunately, we had a lot of feedback from snowmobile people, and things messed up, and I'm one of these people that Facebook and social media is a problem. And it got horrible in our meetings, and it just evolved to this disaster. We could have probably sat down, because once we sat down with Dan and Herb, it was not a big deal. We
Yeah.
probably could have got to this point a long time ago, but that just got pretty stupid, if you ask me.
well, I just want to put it out there in case people are watching these videos, because I know they're watching these videos. That you know, I have worked with 5 of the supervisors down in Webb, and the boards that have been changing here, there, wherever. It's always been, what can we do to help each other?
Right.
And my simple statement online last night was, you know, we strive to work together, and neighbors should get along. And if anybody's feeling any umbrage by the fact that we're going back onto the permit system, quite honestly, you know, we have to weigh the fairness to the taxpayers at the same time. I still think at some point in the future, free might be a play for both towns. But not right now, not the way things are set up.
So
So,
I find out a little something this year. I believe, and I've been wrong before. Permit sales are probably gonna be down. So how we're gonna make up the differences, we're gonna find out.
so,
Yeah.
but
Let's have a good winter, that's it. I'm thinking.
Well, if we have a good winter, I don't think there's gonna be any issues, because I think snowmobilers love the snowmobile.
Yep.
Every year.
Bottom line, yeah.
But I just want to put it out to that community that, you know, we don't disrespect them, that this was never meant to use anybody as pawns or to put one against the other or anything like that. This was just, we need to get back on the same direction, and simple as that, work together. So thank you for coming to the meeting tonight.
Well, thank you
Thanks.
for listening.
And, I'm guessing that means we can stay Wednesday nights for our meetings.
Yeah, you win. I'll give it to you. I gotta give you one once in a while.
Am I dying? Somebody knows something I don't know? All right. I'd like to reserve a time for each of those dates if we need to have something in our minutes. Should the meeting be needed, it'll be posted at the post office and online. But it'll be Tuesday, and I'd like to try and do it like, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, if at all possible. Are you guys available?
Just tell me where.
Okay,
Matter of. Let us know.
all right.
Give me a heads up. that's
But the next 3 Tuesdays are, depending on when we hear back from the lawyer, but I want that out there in the public that this is, we're trying to get this done in a timely fashion.
I can't say it enough in our meeting, it's, our meetings are different than this, I can tell you right now. As Soon as you say something, you're the bad guy and you get yelled at and
Oh, we,
want to go home, you know?
we've had those meetings. All right, set a public hearing for our next, meeting, 7:45 for doing a Zoom meeting local law. We've got that in front of the attorneys right now. And this is just so that New York State has made it, I guess this is a good thing coming out of COVID. My wife has health issues, Herb's got travel issues. We can still legally hold the meeting if we give a good reason as to why, and I'm sure the reasons why have to fall within a certain parameter. But without a local law saying we're gonna do that, we can't do it.
So give us the ability to
Conduct business.
conduct business via Zoom.
If I can't leave the house for whatever reason and you're out of town, it's, and we only got 2 people here and I'm there, it still becomes it becomes a quorum and a legal meeting if we have this local law in place. 7:45 at our next meeting.
I'll offer it.
I'll second it.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public hearing set. Budget sessions and insurance. I believe we've set the first budget session for prior to our next meeting. And the insurance question came up earlier on one of our landowners that gets the recreational easement that Bonnie's gonna be sending the information down to Web on. His lawyer said that he wanted up to $8 million in liability coverage on the rider. Whatever Bonnie called today, come to find out our rider's got a $10 million coverage on the,
Perfect.
on the,
So he's
Trail
more than
system.
content then.
well, I haven't, she just told me that it's $10 million, so I gotta report back out to him, but that's why that's on the agenda. Depending on how that budget session goes, we'll schedule the next one at that meeting.
We're still on for 4.
Huh?
4, I think.
4 o'clock.
4 on October 9th.
Budget sessions are open to the public if they want to sit in, but not for discussion purposes. And it'll be here in this room, I believe. I have nothing for executive session. Public comment, anybody? Peggy?
I got a couple questions. So what are the parameters for the zooming for the state?
From what I have loose, it's health or emergency travel. I don't believe I now live or reside elsewhere. You have to have been called out of town. I don't have it in front of me, sitting right here. That'd be,
Well,
you have it in front of you?
Do somewhere.
Otherwise, that's a great question for the public hearing.
Yeah, oh, here it is, yeah.
So just travel for vacation, doesn't cut the mustard?
I'm not sure I can say yes on that.
It just says unless extraordinary circumstances exist. However, when I talked to the attorney, he said our local law can kind of dictate what we consider extraordinary circumstances. So he says, if you say that, it can't be they're on vacation and I can't make it back, but it can be, I'm in Florida and it's
Hurricane.
financially, or it's financially not feasible to make it back every month for the meeting, is how he explained it to me. Cause I sent him over, there's quite a few samples of what we can say. And so it basically just says, oh, what else? 80 compliant effective date. Well, and it does say that if there's a state of emergency or video conference, and it just has to be that I have to give a notice. If known before, I have to give a notice that board members are not going to be physically present. And then they're going to be via Zoom.
So how far in advance do you have?
Ahead of time.
5 days. But he said there's also circumstances, it gets weird, because there's also
Yeah.
circumstances where you may not know
Well, you
5
wouldn't
days.
know
in
5
advance.
days.
Right.
So-
Right.
So
So we
you
said
had
as
mentioned at
long
the
as-
beginning of the meeting, right?
As long as I give it within 5 days, if it's like something like her
Plan.
make it back planned type thing. If it's extraordinary circumstances, I can just announce it at the beginning of the meeting that so-and-so is gonna be available via Zoom.
Right.
So you have to do a public notice?
Yes, 5 days in advance, I would put in the post office that, so-and-so is not gonna.
Yeah,
for
then I can't come back, 'cause
non-extraordinary
there's no flights because there's a
Right.
hurricane, which
For
happened.
non-extraordinary circumstances, for extraordinary circumstances, I don't have to give, nobody has to give any notice. Just at the beginning of the meeting, we
Yeah.
would say that, you
Yeah.
know, so-and-so.
I'll use myself as an example. If I know that I can't find somebody to sit with Sarah, because I can't, she's on a respirator, I cannot leave her alone. If I can't get qualified care to sit with her, and I give her 5 days notice, that's one thing. If my person cancels on me the night of the meeting, that becomes extraordinary, and I don't know if that's the right.
Yeah, I would say
That's a good
you're right on,
example.
you're right on the
Yeah,
example there,
exactly.
you know.
Okay, the next question is the 911 numbers. We've had people working on that for years.
You know, I had that on the first draft agenda that got deleted.
Then it dropped off.
Yeah, sure.
Don Spanfelder has been coming up here for over a year now. He is 99% done. We're just fine tuning it. We have the list of new numbers in our office. The problem with previously, yes, that was the first project I started when I got
Yeah, it's been a long time.
here.
And even before that.
We lost
It's-
so many people in 911 down below that knew how to do this. Because it's kind of not, you've got to measure everything, you've got to go out, check the location. So, thanks to Andrew, who has been working with John, Spanfelder. He's been moving it faster along this last year than it's been in 10 years.
So how long do you? think it's
So
gonna be?
we already have the numbers in our office. We're fine tuning them. We're gonna be sending letters out probably the beginning of the year, the end of this year. We're that close. So it's just a question of us inputting the new numbers in the system and then sending everybody letters stating this is your new address.
So is it affecting everybody?
Everybody.
Because I thought,
Even areas they thought they weren't gonna change a year ago are changed.
because I thought that you had mentioned prior that not everybody's number was gonna change.
It has to, because every.
Originally,
corner
somebody said that, it
It
just,
has to be the same standard.
Start at 100 or 101. None of our corners start at 100 or 101.
right,
So that's the first big change that affects everyone. And then, like areas they thought were okay, once they got out there and measured, they weren't. So it's just passing that right now. So everybody will have new numbers.
And every time that the office changes in Herkimer, this is the 4th attempt to try and do this that I'm aware of. I know Susan, when she came on as a police officer, was tasked with doing it. I think after you had been tasked with doing it.
We did it together.
Oh, you did it
almost
together?
2 years, Susan and I worked.
Well,
But
Yep,
Yeah, and
What
what,
was working on it another time.
yep.
every time somebody left Herkimer County, the ball was just left in the pile for the next guy. And sometimes it took them a couple of years to get the replacement guy. John has worked with, he's been with 911 for years, and he's also been a fire chief down there, so he knows response times and things, so he took this project on when he got on board with them, and he's done great.
Well, I was just wondering where we were at.
Yeah, we're almost done.
Okay, I got one
Yeah.
more thing.
I gave up putting it on my agenda years ago. It was very frustrating.
I got one more thing for Adele.
Yes.
So if I remember correctly, the, master plan has to be completed before you can do a grant for Fern Park, the new playground.
It doesn't have to be.
It helps.
It helps with a grant process if you have a plan.
Bumps you way up in the queue.
Yeah.
It'll bump you way up in the queue if you've got supporting documentation.
Yeah, I mean, you can apply for a grant anytime, but if you have a master plan, it just helps you. get the grant.
So is that in the new master plan to look into getting a playground and pickleball courts at Clay Park?
No.
It's a sub-plan.
So, right, so Fern Park would be a sub-plan of the master plan. And is there something specific about, the plan would say something like, oh, this is something that the people want to see in this park. Or research has shown that this would work in the park, those kind of things. And then if it says that, and you apply for something, you say, see, look, here in Inlet's master plan, it says this would work in this area. So that's why hoping we have a mapped out plan of the area to show these are the kind of things that will work in that.
So do you have that?
No, I just said, I haven't worked on Fern Park master plan in months. I have not. I'm not the only one on that.
I'm on
Committee,
that
though,
board. I had
Tim
Matt
is as
Brennan, in Utica, I've been in my cellar. and-
I'll be honest, when Dan was involved, he was the pusher, he was he
Yep.
got us together and got us working on it, and since Dan hasn't been involved anymore, I don't have the energy to do it
So
right
do
now.
you have pickleball in that?
Is it mentioned in there? It's definitely mentioned in there in the documents that we've collected
So
from
far.
surveys that people have said,
Right.
but it's, a couple people said, yeah, they would like pickleball there.
I think there's a lot.
10 times more people said a dog park, dog walking, or a dog park would be, better at Fern Park.
I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm just saying,
I think there's a lot of people that play pickleball that can't here.
they can play here, over on the tennis courts there. It's the lakeside is lined for pickleball.
There's been quite a few people playing.
And,
pickleball.
if the golf course sells, they have brand new pickleball courts there. Maybe someone will open those up and that.
Usable. Yeah.
I don't think they're too happy with those pickleball courts though, because before they closed the parking lot off, I drive in there and the water was pounding on the
Oh,
court.
no.
So saddle or something.
But anyways, this ties directly back to what we did for Arrowhead Park. Without that master plan, we wouldn't have gotten the LWRP
Yes.
grant that we got for that gave us huge money to put the road in behind the cottages, to add to the bathhouse, to put the youth commission building in, the new approaches down to the water, the sign out by the road. It really pushed us forward. And my hope is that, and again, you're not gonna like when I say that took 2 or 3 years to get off the ground.
No, it's already been a couple of years, but I know that Fern Park is utilized a lot.
Yep.
And I mean, people go up there and hike and, walk their dogs and whatnot, but I think it would be utilized a lot more if we had a picnic area and a playground area, and a specific pickleball area.
That's
This
hopefully
year
gonna
would
come out
be
of it.
Nice, but it's windy up there. It wouldn't be so windy.
It's nice to have both parks. I think this
Right.
is supposed to add that enhancement
Right.
to that. Peggy, I agree with you. Pickleball court would be nice. I would have loved to have tried to put something in the budget that I'm working on right now to start the pickleball court situation. But, we're stepping away from the highway contract that we've done for years. I'm gonna have a couple of revenue holes. Quite honestly, one of the reasons I fully embraced and stepped away from my free standpoint on the permits is that was gonna be another huge hole in the town budget. There's not a lot of money to spend on just putting pickleball courts in our small budget.
I get that. I would like to see the Townsend Trail completed first.
And we're working on that.
I know.
We'll get there. That's all I can say. It might not be the timing anybody likes, but we managed to get there at some point. Anything else?
No, I think that's about it.
John, I just want to thank you for publicly speaking out tonight and dispelling hopefully any rumors about the working relationship between the town of Inlet and Old Forge, as well as the town of Inlet's commitment to go above and beyond to make sure that this agreement does get done in a timely manner. So I commend you for addressing that openly, and hopefully that will come to an end soon. Any concerns out there about that?
Yeah, because my last comment on this, I don't believe our information office is going to be selling any permits until we've got that from both towns. But I understand that Webb might be, selling them in hopes at this point in time. And that, we don't have an issue with that. But I want the snowmobile community to know, unless something happens between now and the next couple of meetings, it's going through. It's going through. And this is working together. And I still feel our biggest issue is gonna be the climate. And people want to say climate change, no climate change, whatever. We're susceptible to weather. And if we had more snow, everybody would be a lot happier, myself included. But, both towns have the equipment and the manpower to get the job done. So let's get out there and do it.
Thank you.
Yeah, one more quick thing.
Sure.
Today, I don't know, we were up at Macaulay Mountain and all this concrete was poured for the new towers. Just a FYI.
Thanks.
Helicopter comes for the towers tomorrow?
And it was 3 hours,
Wow.
poured it all, boom, boom, boom.
When do they set the
Comment was made that they have to let this dry 28 days. But then the helicopter will come back and supposedly in 4 hours, all the towers go on.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Good,
So
good.
Yeah,
That's the goal. They said they'll be ready by November or something. He said they'll be up and running.
And
All
again,
these things have to be inspected.
and I'll make this comment too. I commend Old Forge for stepping up at the mountain. I taught skiing up there for the Inlet kids when they went up there, and it's another nice thing that's in the area. So finding a way to make that stay there.
It's failing. I mean, only a few more years and you're gonna be, we need pumps, we need compressors, we need snowmaking. It's just never ending.
yeah.
It's been let go too long, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was such a big nut, I mean, you're talking budgeting,
Well,
it's hard to keep putting money into everything.
and quite honestly, that had been my next last comment of the night would be when they asked us to buy the golf course, when the golf course is for sale. That's why we couldn't step into the golf course. We can't take that on.
Right.
If you guys were looking at buying the mountain all over again at this point in time, it'd probably be the hardest decision you ever had to make to say yes. But you've got it, so keep going.
Any news on the golf course?
What's that?
Any news?
Nothing that I can report.
Actually, I got a call today, and funny, now Lowell Seifter asked, did I bring it up? And maybe he'd come to the meeting, but he didn't. So I said, well, if you come, Lowell, I won't take your thunder, but he didn't. Anyway, he was hoping maybe there's a mechanism, these state golf courses. There's such a thing. I go, do you know anybody from the county that's connected to the state? I said, I'd bring it up with John. I'd ask what the boards, what their thoughts were. I know Inlet can't afford to cut the check for it, but maybe the state can. Maybe there's a grant out there. I don't know. I said I'd bring it up for him.
The state almost always looks to somebody local to be handling that. I quite honestly, I've never heard of that.
He named him a couple of state courses, and I know state has a couple of ski mountains, so I'm familiar with some of their state.
Yeah, they're not looking to get any more either, though.
No, but I said I'd ask, and he actually had a connection, somebody from White Lake, he was gonna text it to me.
I mean, and I'm not trying to start a rumor, but I know that the owners are actively trying to find somebody. That's about all I can state. I'll check into this.
I told him I know you would, but
Order wouldn't be part of the golf course, would they?
no, but I just use that as an example. I mean, they do.
Yeah, they do.
And without doing any research, my mind is telling me that some of these lands that they acquired that had golf courses on them might still be in play, but not, I don't, I'm not looking for the state to pick up any more land in the town of Inlet. They own enough.
Definitely that part is.
Yeah,
And they'll have to figure out how to staff it as well.
quite honestly, in talking to the owners, they're looking for somebody that both has the money to operate it, buy it, and the know-how to operate it at the same time. And that may not necessarily be a group or a coalition of players. Unless they've got enough money to hire people to do that. I understand that one of the stumbling blocks in talking to a couple of people that wanted to put offers in is, and this is true with any real estate deal, those that are looking to buy it think it's too expensive, and those that are looking to sell it aren't gonna cut the price.
Same, well, it depends if you're buying or selling.
It is what it is, so if anybody wants to talk, I can put them in the right direction with Roger Lynn Jr. I'll look into that state angle, but I can't even begin to make promises on that.
I told him I wouldn't, but I would bring it up. I was
And-
hoping he'd come, but he didn't, so.
Well, and I don't mean to downplay the golf course's importance or whatever, but things we have in progress already are more critical. The Townsend Trail, the snowmobile contract, the pickleball.
It'd be nice if it stayed a golf course, so I think we all agree with that.
It is, anybody that's been looking at it, I have to be fully honest, if we wind up with a nine-hole golf course with lots on the Hamlet side of the course, which is the front nine, is a strong possibility. That quite honestly looks like the best way to keep that a golf course at this point in time. That's not my opinion. That's the opinion of those that have been looking at it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that makes sense.
So, and I'm not trying to start a rumor that that's happening tomorrow. But I fully hope that something can happen. I want to have the conversation with the Lins to see if we can maybe use the course for cross-country skiing again at some point in time. But, that's again, totally up to them.
Totally.
And I'm not demanding it, but I'm asking it.
I appreciate you asking too.
All right, I lost my agenda. I think that's out of bills. Anything else from public comment? All right, motion to pay highway
So moved.
as presented.
Second that.
Second, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
I
Opposed? So carried. Motion to pay general and sewer is offered.
Joffrey.
I'll second that.
Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, there may be a meeting, special meeting, check the web or the post office, if we get the contract back from the lawyer. Quick meeting, one of the next 3 Tuesdays prior to Webb's bill paying night. Other than that, our next meeting is on the 9th. It's 6:30 for bills and updates, 7:30 for the actual meeting, 4 o'clock for budget.
Yes,
Thank you, Mike, for the information and coming,
yes, thanks.
keeping us in the loop. I appreciate that.
Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion
Oh,
to
yeah,
carry.
motion to, I made that earlier. I never got a motion.
No, you never got a second.
Second it.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Perfect.